they did address a position of need, and it brings a potential Super Bowl contender. You imagine it made them better. But at what cost? I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts trading for Sauce Gardner yesterday, the all-pro corner from the New York Jets. If we can pull up the Sauce Gardner trade to Indianapolis, because they gave up a haul to get him. So Colts get Sauce Gardner. The Jets get A.D. Mitchell, unfortunately, good player, but unfortunately best known for fun the ball before he got to the goal line against the Rams. And they gave up their next 2 first-round picks. So here the Jets sit today, leading the first half hour of the show almost, talking about Jets trades. Here the Jets sit today with 5 first-round picks over the next 2 drafts. And so they feel great, right? You imagine they'll get a high pick as is because they have 1 win this season, so it's not going terribly well. They can draft a quarterback. They can build an offensive line. They can rebuild this defense. They've got some second-round picks. Like, they're in fantastic shape because they got Dallas' second-rounder as well as their own. Jets are sitting pretty. It's funny. I was talking to my buddy Tim. Shout out to Tim of the Boston Sports Summit. Tim Barnard. Subscribe to his show. Check out his show every week. Talks about Boston sports and is my co-host on the Saturday morning tailgate. I was talking to him about this yesterday because he's a big Patriots fan. He was frustrated about the Patriots not making a move yesterday. His mindset is, I'm all about win now. Give yourself the best opportunity to win this year because you don't know if you're going to be able to contend in the future. And the only reason I disagree with him on that is, I think you've got your franchise quarterback and then some, maybe a superstar quarterback in Drake May. You've got the building blocks. You've drafted well. You certainly have the coach. You probably have the offensive coordinator for the long run in Josh McDaniels because he's bombed twice as a head coach. He's not going anywhere. For the Colts, it's a little bit different in the sense of, I don't know if they made this trade for Sauce Gardner to put themselves in position to compete for a Super Bowl as much as they did it in the short term to retain their jobs. Chris Ballard in particular, the GM. Shane Steichen to a lesser degree. Steichen's going to be here next year. Ballard likely here next year, like in Indianapolis, but if the season goes awry, right, if Sauce Gardner bombs, and now your 2 first-round picks are with the New York Jets today, now that trade looks terrible. And Sauce Gardner, who I've always thought was a good player, but not special. Jets fans will tell you, heck, the film will tell you, for years has gotten away with holding, right? He's gotten away with contact for a lot of years as one of the premier quarterbacks and cornerbacks in this league. Now, recently this season, they're calling it. The refs are seeing it. They're seeing him grab the jerseys. They're flagging him. And there's a reason. I talked about this with Trayvon Diggs, who's a lesser corner than, even at his peak, than Sauce Gardner. I was never a Trayvon Diggs fan. But I said this years ago with Trayvon Diggs. If he's so good of a corner, why do quarterbacks keep throwing at him? Because, yes, sometimes Diggs will pick off a pass, and sometimes he'll bite on something. I used to sing The Gambler by Kenny Rogers on this show. Anytime he bite on a double move, and he's still doing it. So that's not quite the case with Sauce Gardner because he's a much better cover corner than Diggs is, than some of the ball-hawking corners in this league are. But he really can't play you straight up without some illegal contact. Like, that's the reality of the situation. And when you consider that the Colts the Jets gave him a long-term extension. So now the Colts are paying that money. And so with the Colts, one of 2 things. The thing I think that it probably is Chris Ballard trying to keep his job. Because if the season goes awry, man, he's been here 9 years, we've won 1 playoff game. Like, maybe the coach is right. Maybe the quarterback's right. Get to him in just a second. The roster has clearly shown improvement. Maybe we need to go in a different direction. What I hope is not the case. Because Indianapolis is an excellent football team. I got Bryson's best 10 coming up at the top of the second hour. They're going to be on the list, okay? Even with the loss, they're going to be in the top 10. The season's not a disaster if they don't win the Super Bowl. If you're a Colts fan, I told you, okay, you're 7-2 today. You're going to win the AFC South, which for the record, the Colts have not done since, I think, 2014. You're going to win your first playoff game in the wild card round because I think either Buffalo or New England is going to be the 1 seed. You're going to win your first playoff game in the first round, and then you're going to upset somebody in the divisional round, and then you're going to lose to Kansas City, Buffalo, maybe Baltimore in the AFC Championship game. Any Colts fan with half a brain would be like, heck yeah, I'd take that. I didn't have those kind of expectations coming into 2025. This is the kind of move, the F them picks mentality That, Les Snead with the Los Angeles Rams has kind of gained the reputation over, especially back in 2021. He gave up picks for Von Miller. He signed Odell Beckham. He gave up picks for Matthew Stafford. Like, they pushed all their chips in the middle of the table. It worked out for them. That doesn't always happen, but we knew the Rams were in position. Some older players in the roster, Whitworth, Von Miller. This was a win-now situation, and so they addressed it as such. That's not the case with the Colts. I mean, it's really not. Some of their best players in their football team are still young. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren, and those are just the offensive players. It's a relatively young football team. If Indianapolis is making this move because they've seen enough from Daniel Jones to say that guy can take us to the Super Bowl, what they are in effect also saying is that means he's getting a second contract. And I think that would be a mistake. I don't want to poo-poo on Daniel Jones' parade and how he's played this season at whatsoever. He's pushed the ball down the field. Take out the game against Pittsburgh. He's been efficient. He's been accurate with the football. He's used his legs very well. But just like the Giants, the running back is the focal point of the offense. Saquon Barkley was the focal point of the Giants in 2022, as is Jonathan Taylor with the Indianapolis Colts in 2025. Is that, and people are like, well, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, first of all, was well more regarded as a draft prospect than Daniel Jones was. The fact that Daniel Jones went 6th overall to the Giants in 2019 shocked everybody. We're like, whoa, a lot of folks had him as a second-round pick. He goes in the top 10. Giants are that desperate. Sam Darnold, there were discussions about whether he'd be the first pick over Baker Mayfield. Goes to overall, the Jets. We know about the Jets. Can't develop a quarterback to save their lives, as evidenced by Geno Smith and Sam Darnold and others. But he ends up in Carolina. Last year in Carolina, they have a winning record. Like, they're competent. Yeah, the Jets was a disaster. Jets is always a disaster. Them and the Browns, they can't get quarterback right. Backs up Brock Purdy in San Francisco, then goes out in Minnesota, and I don't know, what was it, like 37 touchdown passes? Gets them to 14 wins in a brutal NFC North? Yeah, hindsight's 2020. At worst, they should have franchise tagged him. Screw the fact you picked J.J. McCarthy. Again, they invest in J.J. McCarthy. I didn't, right? Like, I'm not a part of the Vikings front office, but J.J. McCarthy does not have a high ceiling. You hope, you believe, I don't, but they do, that Anthony Richardson does. The massive arm strength, the athleticism, he just doesn't see the field well, and he's not accurate whatsoever. Maybe a year sitting behind Daniel Jones can fix that. Who knows? But this Sauce Gardner trade possibly signifies that guy's getting a second contract. That guy's going to get another deal that makes him amongst the highest paid quarterbacks in all professional football, and I think that would be an albatross around the neck of the Indianapolis Colts franchise. Not to mention, forget that, or put that to the side. Man, 2 first-round picks for, I mean, if you just added a good player, like a good starter in the NFL, that would be equivalent of what the Cowboys gave Green Bay, what the Packers gave Dallas for Micah Parsons. Sauce Gardner is not at corner what Micah Parsons is at pass rush. Right? There's not a single person that would agree with that. So I think the Jets crushed at the deadline. I think Indianapolis really put themselves behind the 8 ball in a major, major way. They're showing more. They've seen 9 games from Daniel Jones. It's like, bam, we're going to trade for an all-pro corner, give up future draft capital because this guy can take us not just to this year's Super Bowl, but maybe 2 future Super Bowls, or at least have us in contention. I don't know. 9 good starts is not enough for me to make that claim, especially when just, I don't know, a year ago at this time, this guy was getting, benched for Tommy DeVito, for Drew Lock, or the last year or the year before that. I don't know. I don't like this trade at all for Indianapolis, at all. And as for the Jets, listen, my skepticism still reigns for them because they are, of course, the New York Jets. If this was Howie Roseman, the Eagles, then, oh my gosh, just slate them to win the next 7 Super Bowls. But 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years is something. Dallas' second-round pick which we imagine is going to be a pretty good one, right? Either high 30s, low 40s. It's going to be a good pick. And they can potentially, I was talking to somebody yesterday, I was talking to a Titans fan. Obviously, I live in Tennessee. And, obviously he's struggled throughout the season. It's not been good. And he was kind of saying, hey, I'm glad the Jets made these trades. Because his mindset was, hopefully we've got our quarterback, Cam Ward. We're going to try and find a new coach this offseason. But if the Titans get the first pick, they don't need a quarterback. They're going to use that leverage to talk to other teams to get draft capital, like the New York Jets. So the Titans are also kind of a component in this. But if you're a Jets fan, it's like, hey, let's just tank the year, which it seems like they're kind of doing to a certain degree. Get the number 1 overall pick. Then we don't have to worry about giving up what we have to Tennessee or do a New Orleans Saints, which New Orleans wouldn't give you that pick because New Orleans needs a quarterback. But it's really interesting. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.